was so long ago, and I mean, we're here to feature you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's start off. Who are you, and how'd you get into the game?
So my name is Gerry Burgos. I've been a cut man now since 2015. That's when I actually switched over and got into it more per se. I originally started when I got out of the military. I needed to do something. I was drinking a lot. I was doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be doing, and I needed an outlet. So I started. I started training myself in a MMA gym down in Anthony with Daryl Schoonover.
Okay.
He had just finished The Ultimate Fighter, was training down in Miami, and moved back to El Paso, and decided to open an MMA gym. And since it was like down the street from where I work, I decided to join, and I started training in boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, judo, and jiu-jitsu. And that totally changed my life.
Yeah.
I stopped drinking. I started eating good. And I just, as soon as I started seeing how the business worked, I fell in love with it. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to be, I started learning how to coach. I started seeing how some of the shows were being put together. I learned how to wrap hands because I started competing.
Yeah.
Originally, I joined the gym not to compete, but just to get in shape.
Yeah.
And I did a little boxing match, and I just got hooked
Yeah.
with everything, with the adrenaline rush, the way everything is ran, how everything is done. So I started learning how to wrap hands back then, and I learned how to put rings and cages together. I learned how to deal with different fighters and coaching. And then I started coaching myself at different gyms
Yeah.
around, and I helped some gyms open up. And because of my experience, I kind of started being a striking coach, a boxing
Okay.
coach, kickboxing coach, and a Muay Thai, and striking for MMA. And then I did some competitions in all of those, including judo and jiu-jitsu. I
Yeah.
did some tournaments. And so originally, just like most cutmans, we all started training,
Yeah.
competing, and then some gyms, they don't have the money to have a cutman, to hire a professional cutman.
Yeah.
So I started learning for ourselves, for me.
Yeah.
And again, since I love the business, I started watching videos, learning how to wrap hands, and then I started taking classes from other experienced cutmans
Like seminars and
and
stuff.
seminars. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I was gonna ask you, is there like a certification process for like through commissions and all?
Not through commissions. You can get second license for through commissions. Certain commissions do have a separate license for cutmans. Some organizations have certain certifications, but since this is an age-old job, there's technically no real training. You just gotta love doing it and put yourself out there, and you pretty much learn from experience and from talking to other cutmans.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna ask you, like, going back to when it all started. So you were military, and was your military background what kind of wanted to get you into like combat sports? Because you said you got out of the military, you're doing some things that you weren't really too happy with, and you wanted to make that change. But then you, like, some guys, like, oh, I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to go join a bowling team or something. But you decided to join a gym and a combat sport, you know?
Right.
Was it something in the military that maybe, because, like, Peter always talks about, like, when he was in the military and he was deployed, there were just, like, a bunch of guys that would go and they would wrestle, they would grapple or whatever, box here and there. Did you experience anything like that? And
Yeah.
that was what
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
got you into it?
Well, I was in combat arms. I was a 19 Delta Cav Scout. So we were pretty much like the infantry. You know, we were out in combat, getting blown up, you know, getting shot at, clearing routes, doing raids, all of that stuff. So it's really hard when you come back to be in such a high level, stress level situations, and your adrenaline running all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, we had guys that we would spar out there in Iraq.
Yeah.
You know, we would roll, train in jiu-jitsu. So we kind of like that stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I just wanted, like I said, you know, you kind of need that something to let that aggression out, an outlet to do. So yeah, it had something to do with that as well. And originally, before I joined the Army, I was a paramedic. So also working with as a cutman, that also gives me that part of experience as well, because I like the aspect of that
Yeah.
as well. And that's how pretty much I decided to become a cutman, because being a coach, you have to deal with so many egos,
Yeah.
so many gyms. And if you don't have your own gym, you're working for another gym. You know, you're working for somebody who owns the gym. And a lot of the times, coaches that don't own the gym get taken advantage of. You know, you don't get paid very well. Too many rumors. They'll say they'll pay you this, but they don't. You can spend a lot of time in a fight camp, and then when it's time for the fights, you get pushed aside, and somebody that has nothing to do with the team comes in and they put them in.
Yeah.
You know, all of this stuff happens all the time. So that's when I decided to become just a cutman, where people would call me,
Yeah.
and then I come in and I just do that job. I wrap hands. I take care of the fighter during the fight, and then I leave. I don't have to deal with the whole coaching aspect of it, having to worry about the fight, if the fighter's going to make weight, you know, all those egos all put together. So that's why I decided to become a cutman.
So I guess like early in your career, you were kind of working with these gyms like you were talking about.
Yes.
You were helping these guys out. But then you started to see what the business really is. And sometimes, like you said, like you're there, you're in the camp, you're working with a fighter for 6 weeks or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they bring in somebody else. And then you're like, oh, man, well. And then,
Right.
So when did you make the transition to, I'm going to be my own kind of like my own boss? Like, I'm going to promote myself as Gerry Burgos, boxing cutman.
That's right. Back in 2015, that's when I decided to kind of step away from coaching. I still coach.
Yeah.
You know, I still do a lot of my free time, and down up in Las Cruces at Doña Ana Boxing, I help some of the kids there. But I no longer try to be a coach as much as I like to. So, yeah, it was back in 2015 I decided to do as much research as I could, and try to learn my hand wrapping skills as best as possible.
Yeah.
I started buying all the equipment that I needed, learning what medications I need to use, all that stuff. And yeah, it was back in 2015 that's when I decided to, you know what, I'm gonna step away from coaching and do this cutman thing a lot more, and because I just felt like I loved it a lot more than coaching.
Where are you, I guess, currently licensed?
I'm under about, I think, 8 states right now under each commission.
Okay.
I've worked in Colorado, Arizona, Texas, Nebraska, California, Arizona, Las Vegas, and Mexico.
Damn.
Right? That's what I told him. He's living the life, man.